Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And I'm Meerkat.
And this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to another driver ratings video, and as you saw by that intro, and if you were watching the live stream yesterday, you would have known that Mr. Meerkat himself, Sir Meerkat, will be joining us for our driver ratings. So he will be hijacking in between, obviously, mine and Stephen's ratings. But, Sir Meerkat, welcome to the channel.
Hello, mate. We are actually in the same room. I know we're on different cameras, but we just thought, social distancing and that we may as well just jump on some separate sofas. But yeah, thank you very much for being here, mate. I'm super excited to give my opinions on what was quite a good race today.
Yes, it was. And I think what made it a very good race is the fact that Mercedes are no longer invincible. They have been beaten by the Dutch Lion, that is Max Verstappen. But that rating will be coming on later on in the video from both of us, so make sure you kind of tune in from there. But as always in driver ratings, what we do is we go through the teams and give the drivers on the grid a rating out of 10 for their race performance in yesterday's 70th anniversary Grand Prix. So we are going to start off with Williams, and I think it's your turn to kind of start off. No, actually I did. Yes. I'm on even, so I'm going to start off with
already. Who starts?
Who starts? It's Meerkat. No, we're jumping. We're jumping in terms of that front. So I'll start off with Williams. So Nicholas Latifi, we are going to give a 5 out of 10, finishing dead last in the race. Obviously, Kevin Magnussen, the only retiree in the race, and he just was that. Williams continues to have no race pace, so it is kind of difficult to judge. But again, finishes behind teammate, but then qualified lower. But 5 out of 10, a bit of a gun barrel kind of straight, like flatlined performance from there. Hopefully, the Williams race pace can improve throughout the season. But George Russell going to go for slightly better because he beat his. No, actually, we're not. We're deciding 5 out of 10 for both Williams drivers. Yeah. Because Russell obviously started P15, that race pace drops off, but both Alfa Romeos beat him and the Haas of Roman Grosjean. So,
well, P12 last weekend.
It was.
So race pace was there.
We've only got to give him, judge him on that performance. But that is our Williams rating. Now over to Sir Meerkat.
Hello, it's over to me. Now I've got to think of a score, oh god. I'll go, yeah, it's pretty similar to what those boys have said. They just didn't really have it this weekend. They've been impressing us this year, especially over the absolute calamity that was their 2019 season. But this weekend at Silverstone just didn't really have it again. Both Latifi and Russell just not really having the pace today, and Russell particularly looking a lot off what he should be doing. So those boys both went with 5s. I think I'm going to give both of the Williams guys a 4 for today's race.
Brutal from Meerkat. He is taking no prisoners here. He will absolutely slate you if you do not meet Sir Meerkat's standards. And obviously being a go-karting hero himself, he's the man who knows.
The young Lewis Hamilton's on call, actually.
It's a well-known fact, actually, in the F1 YouTube world. But anyway, Stephen, over to Alfa Romeo. What are we going to go and give the Alfa boys?
Okay, so we'll start off with Giovinazzi, who finished ahead of the Williams, because he was behind George, wasn't he, last week? So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 for this week. Bit of yeah, he finished. He didn't crash out. It's always a positive at Silverstone for Gio. Kimi got the better of him though on the day after having a disastrous time out last weekend. So again, give Kimi a 7 out of 10, I think. But both had pretty meh races as well.
It's so difficult in such a poor car to kind of judge them.
The race paces, makes it
But
difficult.
Kimi finishing, where did he finish in the end? I think P14. Very impressive considering he was last week.
Yeah.
But, so Meerkat, how do you rate the Alfa boys?
Again, I'm going to be saying this a lot in this video, similarly to what the boys said. Yeah, the Alfa's just looking a bit rubbish this season. Just really not looking like they have the pace. Giovinazzi sort of just doing all right. I'd probably give him a 5, say. And then Raikkonen really showing his experience, showing his singular world title, and being able to increase the pace of that car thanks to his own talent. And I'm probably going to give him a 6 out of 10 for that race. Slightly better than Gio, but still not particularly incredible.
And now we move on to Haas, and differing fortunes for the two drivers. Now, we are still filming this pretty much straight after the race, maybe like an hour or so afterwards. Had some rumours in the live stream that Haas said that Kevin Magnussen was suffering from performance issues from the Albon crash the previous week that was affecting his performance, which kind of would make sense because he had a brilliant start and then drastically dropped off during the race, but not sure, unconfirmed on that. But what we can tell is when he went round the outside of Stowe with Nicholas Latifi, he came back very dangerously onto the track, and I think we all kind of winced and were like, that didn't look good. Certainly, it looked a little bit of trouble. So for Kevin Magnussen, it is a 4 out of 10 for this week. And his teammate, Roman Grosjean, much better qualifying, making it into Q2, which is the first time in a couple of races, I think, that Haas have been able to do that. It might even be the first time this season. I'm not sure on that one.
Probably. I think so.
Well, we'll go on that because their qualifying pace has been really poor this year. But finished, I think, P15 in the end after starting P14. But, you know, that Haas doesn't really seem to... It didn't really have a great time at Silverstone on either of the race days. Obviously, Kevin Magnussen last week, we don't really know what would have happened having retired so early in the race. So we're going to give Grosjean a 6 out of 10. Not a terrible performance, but obviously nothing really to shout home about. So, back over to Meerkat Cam. What's your rating?
Back over to me. Yeah, so the Haas boys just weren't really enjoying themselves, particularly today, as Mike kindly said, with Magnussen's just crazy move around the outside. You can't rejoin the track like that, Magnussen, coming on, and seemingly we thought we saw some bodywork possibly coming off of either the Haas car or the Williams. We weren't too sure, that we thought might have caused the damage that meant he had to go into the pits and stay there for the rest of the race. But again, as you were saying, some people saying that it might have been from the clash they had last week. So we'll have to wait and see about that. I'd probably say that Magnussen, I'd be kinder to him. I'd probably give him a 5, since he did have such a good start to the race, gaining quite a few positions, but then just not really having the pace, falling back a bit, and then having that incident putting him out of the race. And then same for Roman Grosjean, give him a 5 as well. Just pretty meh from Grosjean, didn't really do anything. I don't think we really particularly saw him at all, to be honest.
No, I don't. I believe yes. And that was as Grosjean as a back marker. Lewis Hamilton getting past when he was chasing down Valtteri Bottas, I think, at some point in the race. I think that is the only time I remember seeing Roman Grosjean within the race. But we now move on to Alfa Tauri, and this is obviously quite a lot of the ratings at the moment have been a bit like difficult to judge in terms of things. Alfa Tauri is a better car, so it's a much easier to judge. And Stephen, Alfa Tauri.
I'll start with Pierre Gasly. Had a couple of good weeks. Had a very good qualifying P7, wasn't it? But finished P11. Just couldn't manage his tyres on that. Was it first stint or second stint? I'm trying to think.
I think it was second stint.
Yeah, he basically mucked up his tyres, had to do an early stop, and then pretty much didn't see him for the rest of the race. Finished outside the points behind his teammate. Not a great day for Pierre. Going to give him I'm thinking 4 out of 10. Yeah. For Kvyat, though, on the other hand, been convincingly outbeat by Gasly this season, but today going to give him an 8 out of 10, finishing the points 16th to 10th. Not bad day for Kvyat. Solid drive. Didn't see much for him, but yeah.
Very impressive, definitely on that front. I think, yeah, it may seem harsh on Pierre Gasly, but because he did qualify so well, but I suppose you have to look at it. If his teammate has managed to kind of find a way of managing those tyres, it does look like it would be down to Pierre Gasly himself rather than, you know, it being a car issue, because Kvyat didn't appear to suffer those same tyre wear issues. But over to find out some Meerkat's thoughts on the AlphaTauri team.
Well, the AlphaTauri boys seem to have contrasting weekends, really, especially comparing to last week. We had, obviously, Gasly getting a fantastic performance and Kvyat crashing out. Then this weekend, Gasly not getting a particularly great performance and Kvyat performing above where he'd qualified, obviously. So I think Kvyat with a nice 7 out of 10, but possibly maybe taking away that positive and saying maybe he should be qualifying higher like Gasly is doing, but still was able to pull out that race pace, manage the tyres and bring home one solitary point for the AlphaTauri team. And then for Gasly, just dropping down the order, not able to quite do it with the tyres today and falling below his teammate, which obviously he doesn't want to do, especially if he's wanting to get back in that Red Bull seat in the future. So probably a 7 for Daniel Kvyat today and I'm going to be mean, I'm going to say a 5 for Pierre Gasly today.
Oof. Mean, but not quite as mean as us. I think he's making us look like the bad guys over here. Terrible. You know, we gave Kevin Magton a 4 and he gave him a 5. He's trying to make us look bad over here. Unbelievable. You invite someone onto the channel and they just want to kind of throw you under the bus. But that's the beauty of driver ratings. They've seen different opinions, and that's why we kind of get some people on from time to time. Let's celebrate 70 years of F1. Why not do it with a special collab on driver ratings? But we now move on to the Renault boys. And again, Ocon puts in a very solid performance. We'll start off with the positive one, which is Esteban Ocon. Again, improving race on race for me. With Hungary, he got better. Last week was his best performance. And I think, again, this is probably his best performance. Had that 3-place grid drop after blocking Russell in qualifying, starting P14. Ended in P7. I don't think there was any real chance of him finishing ahead of... Oh, sorry, P8. Hulkenberg was in P7. Thank you for that. It's good having Meerkat over there. Thank you for the kind of off-camera... Hate. Yeah, that's the images we were getting. But yes, Esteban Ocon, I think that's pretty impressive performance for him. So we're going to go 8 out of 10 for Esteban Ocon. I think, you know, a guy who's had a year out of the sport, he's coming against a tough teammate. Again, didn't really, I don't think he was comparable to Daniel Ricciardo, but Ricciardo made the mistake today, so we'll move on to him, and he only gets a 4 out of 10 for Daniel Ricciardo as well. Another 4 out of 10. A lot of 4s.
Lots of 4s coming out today.
And they're just of subpar performances. No, we're being a little bit ruthless. But because, you know, Daniel Ricciardo, his standards have been so incredible this season. He really has been one of the form drivers for me of this year. And he just was a little bit heavy on the throttle coming out of, I think, turn 3, going wheel to wheel with Carlos Sainz, and spun round, and that pretty much sabotaged his race, and he settled just going round, I think it was P13 in the end. He might have finished on that front, or it might have been P14 with Russell. It was around about that kind of lower levels. There, a real struggle for for Daniel Ricciardo today. A 4 out of 10. You got the hang of this now. It's Meerkat time.
He's back. I can confirm. I'm not some genius at remembering. I've just got the results in front of me. Daniel Ricciardo did indeed finish P14. Very frustrating for him today. Getting such a good result last weekend, coming out with such a high, and then into this weekend, just having some Sebastian Vettel vibes, really, which we'll get onto later in this video. But yeah, Daniel... Shush you. Daniel Ricciardo, yeah, spinning at turn 3, just gut-wrenching. Everyone loves Daniel Ricciardo, so to see him spinning, losing out in the points is just really frustrating. So yeah, same with the boys. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10 for today's race. Then Esteban Ocon, as we were also saying, coming back in after a year out, starting to put in the pace, getting better and better every race, and just looking really good. He's really surprised me. I knew he was going to be good. I always preferred him to Sergio Perez when they were together at, Force India, now Racing Point. But I'm happy to see him back, and I'm happy to see him doing well in that Renault. So finishing in 8th place today, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Very well done.
Strong ratings for Esteban Ocon there. He's certainly a guy that is steadily starting to find his feet back in Formula 1. But we now move on to McLaren, which probably having their most disappointing weekend of this season so far. So I leave that in your capable hands, Stephen, in the papaya of Max Verstappen. Talk about McLaren.
Good. Well done there.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, Norris, I think, went into the race going, it's going to be a struggle. I don't think they ever thought the race pace was going to be there. So it's slightly difficult. Norris started P10, finished P9. Sainz, where did he finish in the end?
P13.
P13. Sainz, it's a struggle. I think we were thinking a 5, but I'm feeling a 4 for Sainz.
Oh, another 4 coming out.
I'm just
from
loving the
F1
4s.
fanatics.
I'm loving the 4s.
In fairness to Carlos Sainz, where because it will be brought up, he did have that pit release that cost him some time in the pit stop.
He did nothing all race. For a McLaren that's been pulling out good results, he did absolutely nothing. I'm going to give Sainz a 4 and Norris P9 made up position in the race. Going to give him I don't know.
Into hooks.
He lost the position to Ocon. I'm giving him a 6. Bam.
Damn. Wow.
Average weekend for McLaren, who should be performing better.
Brutal.
Damn.
On the McLaren boys. Now, obviously, we have been the harsher ones so far. Will Sir Meerkat agree with our rating of McLaren?
Well, I just find it funny that you seem to be dishing out the 4s, but the number 4 driver, Mr. Lando Norris, you gave him a 6. So, what's going on there? Yeah, but McLaren, super disappointing this weekend. They've been coming back every year now since they've had the whole takeover, got these new drivers in, getting better and better and better. And this year we really thought they're going to be challenging up the top this year with the likes of, obviously, Ferrari are way off, but with the Red Bull and whatnot, and now Racing Point as well. But this weekend just didn't have it. Very boring races from both the drivers. Sainz, coming back to his usual meme of never being seen on the TV, we had that a lot today, only really when Daniel Ricciardo was spinning and when, as the boys said, he had that difficulty in the pit lane. It looked like just McLaren were a bit all over the place today, having that difficulty in the pit lane, releasing him and then holding him back and then releasing him again. It was all a bit of a mare. I'd probably say I'm going to be even meaner than the boys. For Norris, I reckon I would agree, say a 6, pretty standard weekend, managed to get some points out of it even though they're having difficulty. But with Sainz, just terrible. 13th, behind Vettel who spun at the start. He's got to have 3 points from me for that one.
Bam.
Change. How the tables have turned in terms of that. We're about the halfway point.
Tables, you mean?
We're about the halfway point of the driver ratings. Maybe curveball that Meerkat gets harsher throughout these ratings. We don't know. We'll wait and see. That's why you're going to check around. Check around? Stay around. Check around. No, that's Checo in this hotel room.
Time.
Check out. No, that's the stream on Wednesday.
Damn.
God, make sure you tune in 8:30 PM on Wednesday. Plug, because nobody else will. But we move on to the racing points. The pink Mercedes, the tracing point, whatever you like to call it. The butt of all the jokes this year is probably the fair one there. Lance Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg actually getting to start the Grand Prix is brilliant. So, Nico Hülkenberg, it's a difficult one. I'm probably going to be positive on him because qualified P3, finished P7 in the end, was running in P5 at the time, but felt some vibrations and had to pit for the soft compound, but wasn't able to catch Albon or his teammate again to regain in the last 8 laps that he had on those softer compounds. So I think with Nico Hülkenberg, I'm still going to give him a 7 out of 10 because it's still an incredibly... I know it's only technically 4 races he missed because he didn't race last weekend, but going into a new team, I know he knows the mechanics, he's probably had the whole week simulating it there, but it's intense. He's still going there. Something like tyre management, I think if you don't fully understand the car as much as Lance Stroll would have understood the car, and now I still think it's a pretty solid performance, all things considered.
And obviously he gained no experience from last weekend, whereas everyone else came into it with that in mind.
Absolutely. It's the first race he's driven in 2020. So you can't be too harsh on the bloke. So I think 7 out of 10, very solid performance. A lot of people dreamed of the podium for Nico Hülkenberg, but I think probably as good as a result that he probably could have got today, all things considered, within the race. But Lance Stroll, in comparison, I'm going to rate him worse than Nico Hülkenberg. Out-qualified by the experienced German driver, and for pretty much all the race, bar Nico having to pit later for there. So you can say, obviously, that he looked after his tyres better than Nico. But realistically, he should be beating Nico Hülkenberg anyway. And the only reason he's beaten him is because Nico had to have an extra pit stop. So it's probably he's finished it where it needs to go. So we're going to give 6 out of 10 because the Racing Point was ahead of its main competitors, apart from, we'll come on to the Ferrari drive of Charles Leclerc. But it's still a solid performance. So it's a 6 out of 10, but it's not a performance that fills you with confidence with Lance Stroll. And now for some Meerkat's thoughts.
Hello. So Racing Point, Pink Mercedes, as you say. They did pretty well this weekend. Firstly, where did Hülkenberg pull that kind of lap time from in qualifying? That was incredible. Everyone was just amazed by that, especially with the fact of Lance Stroll being in P6, the one who's done the previous 4 races of the season. And that is right, isn't it? 4? Yeah, okay, good. I'll mess that kind of information up. So well done to him, and just fair play to Nico. As the boys said, missed the first weekend in Silverstone, so still didn't have that extra practice that the boys already had at the track with the dealing with the hot tyres. And I think that's probably what it came down to at the end, why he had to pit. He couldn't manage the tyres as well as Stroll, and that's why he dropped down below him to P7 and P6 respectively. So I think very well done to Nico, jumping back in. Even though he did only miss a few races, people don't quite realise how much that really does impact. Like, it's not just races, it's all the training in between, getting ready, especially as he had a lot of problems with his neck muscles and his ass cheek going a bit numb. That happens when you haven't been in there for a while. So fair play to him, very well done. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for this weekend, getting solid points to the team and looking like he was really up there, doing even better than Stroll at points. So well done to him. Then Lance Stroll, as you're saying, fine, like okay from him. I think Perez really, if he was in the car for that weekend, really could have been challenging up there for possibly even the podium positions if maybe the Mercedes had a bit more problems. But well done to Stroll, did okay. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 for that one. Can
you hear that? I hear a Nico Hülkenberg fanboy. 8 out of 10, amazing. But it was impressive.
Impressive.
That qualifying performance just alone, qualifying that P3 ahead of Max Verstappen, very, very impressive from Nico Hülkenberg. So credit definitely has to be given to him for that performance. But we are now getting into the top 3 teams. And Crawley, I think I'm going to take RedBull away from you, from your guy. I might let you talk about Max. We'll see on that front.
I've got the shirt.
But yeah, Ferrari. Semi Vettel and Charles Leclerc. The floor is yours, Stephen.
Yeah, I think Paul di Resta subbed up when Seb had his little adventure on that one of why does he keep spinning or something like that. Why does he keep happening?
The concern in Paul di Resta's voice. I went, why does he keep doing it? I don't know, Paul. Are you okay? Oh, Seb. No.
Yeah, Seb had a pretty good start. And then did no contact, no pressure from anyone. Just had a little spin after turn 1. And that was him at the back of the grid, flying Kimi Raikkonen, 2 world champions, fighting out for 18th and 19th. Then he got mucked up by team strategy, of course, is Ferrari. Finished in the end P12. So started P12, finished P12?
Started P11 because of Ocon's penalty.
Yes.
But considering that he literally went to the back of the field and properly spun his tyres, it's probably not the worst result in the world.
It's a good recovery drive, but equally
He's made a mistake.
And he was on the right tyres at the start, which meant he could have actually had a very decent finish. So, 4 out of 10 for Vettel. Bam. Out the way. Charles Leclerc, though, so close to a podium. The only driver to do a 1-stop. P4, 10 out of 10, I think, is fair for Charles. superb performance in a Ferrari that is a wreck. And yeah, perfectly managed the tyres to make the one-stop work.
Charles Leclerc is just driving absolutely incredibly this year to make them well. I wasn't sure actually, looking at the tyres laps used, Esteban Ocon might have also done a one-stop in terms of made it work, because he did 30 laps on his hards as opposed to, and Charles did 34 laps. So Ocon might have also done it, but obviously Charles has made it incredibly impressive and finishing ahead of both Racing Points that looked, and Alexander Albon, you know, which those cars clearly had pace this weekend.
Yeah.
Meerkat time.
Well, you were saying that Paul was so enraged and so worried about Sebastian Vettel's spin that you could say he was Paul distressed. Yes! I just thought of that one straight off the noggin. Mike's giving me the worst look ever. Everyone has mass unsubscribed from the channel. Well, I'm sorry. Forget, we'll leave that one in the past. So yeah, with Vettel, shocking weekend from him. We know he's been having difficulties in that Ferrari car, and it sums it up with that qualifying radio that we saw, or heard, where he came over the radio just saying, that was all I had, that was all I could give from the car. And the guy just came over and just said, like, copy, like, thanks. They just didn't really care at all, seemingly. So frustrating for Seb. He's really not enjoying himself in that car. And then to do his trademark spin at the first corner of the race was just really summed it up, to be honest. Terrible weekend from Seb. Not getting any points for the team, down in P12. I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10. For that one, just shocking from him. And then completely in contrast, Charles Leclerc, what a race from him. We sat down and I was doing my bets before, and I went, I'll just do Charles Leclerc, because he seems to jump up there for a podium every now and then. He might do it today. And he was going up and up and up and up the leaderboard. I was like, oh my god, he could do this. And it was only Hamilton coming back out the pits and repassing him on his seriously old hards that many dropped down to P4. But incredible from him. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 just because, wow, fair play to Charles. Even in that terrible car, in a terrible weekend for the team, managed to get some decent points for them.
2 out of 10 for Seb. How has it got to this? How has it got to this for Sebi? But, like I said, plenty of credit has to go to Charles Leclerc's performance. Absolutely incredible from the Ferrari driver to make the one-stop strategy work, which, you know, gained him positions over those Racing Points. We now move on to Red Bull, and a very good weekend. We've maybe gained a reputation of maybe being a little bit critical of Alexander Albon in recent weeks.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Possibly.
Rumours. Nothing confirmed or denied in this situation. But Alex Albon starting P9 on the grid and finishing P5 was certainly probably the best action for a driver on track. His overtakes around the outside of Copse and Stowe were brilliant actually to watch, and he seemed to find a better balance than what he's found in recent weeks with that Red Bull. And you know, his pace was good, and it was very impressive from Alexander Albon, and I think it is an 8 out of 10 performance from the Thai British driver. Very impressive from Alex there, and you know, it's credit where credit's due. These are the type of performance now, if he can qualify better and go from there, he can start being that number 2 driver that Red Bull need him to be, and you know, supporting Max Verstappen and putting more pressure on Mercedes, because it's proven that, you know, reliability issues, we said it on the live stream with me and MotoMeerkat yesterday, that, you know, that Mercedes has had a few issues at, you know, 3 out of the 5 Grand Prix now, they've had issues. It's maybe not the most reliable car in the world. So if they can have 2 drivers putting pressure on it, who knows what can happen with Max driving the way that he is at the moment. And that moves us on to Max Verstappen, the man who has defeated Mercedes. Qualified on the hard compounds where the Mercedes chose not to. Obviously last week's medium made that kind of tyre compound work with a mega first stint. Got him the advantage where even with a slow pit stop coming just out behind Bottas, overtook him within like 3 corners, which was incredible by Max. It's a 10 out of 10 performance. Absolutely stunning drive from the young Dutchman. And if there is anyone who can challenge Mercedes this year and challenge Lewis Hamilton this year, it doesn't look Valtteri Bottas, it looks Max Verstappen. And what he's doing, he is just on another level how he's performing at the moment. I can't credit Max Verstappen. Now Stephen's just going to sit there smug going, Max, yay. In terms of that front, yeah, Max, your boy, he's done well.
Yeah, bam. I have nothing else to add.
See, there you go. He's just happy. But 10 out of 10 for Max Verstappen. Will he be as kind, or is it, a continuation of more harsh decisions from Mr. Meerkat?
Mr. Meerkat. I'm not always a harsh boy. You're painting me in a really bad light here.
No, it's all right. We turned the tables, remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, of course. I can confirm after the live stream that we did. Yeah, I realised at the start of this I completely broke the fourth wall because I said today, but then this goes out tomorrow, so it'd be yesterday. So in the live stream yesterday, we were having a chat, and there were a lot of people saying that he was they were having a reputation as Alex Albon haters, and I can now confirm they are indeed. They were chatting absolute crap about him off camera. No, I'm joking, they weren't. We love all drivers, well, except Roman Grosjean, of course. But his face, F1 review. Sorry, Dan, mate. I apologise. Right, I'll get back on with the actual video now. So yeah, we had Alex Albon. Fantastic race from him. Gonna give him an 8 out of 10. Did very well. Not his best qualifying. He seems to be having a little bit of a problem with that recently, but doing well in the race. Putting some very, very cheeky moves, as the boys said. Loving the moves around the outside of Cops and Stowe. Yeah, it was brilliant to watch some of those moves, especially on Pierre Gasly as well, going hammer and tong against each other for that Red Bull seat still a little bit. I guess it's in the back of everyone's mind, and it was good to see. So an 8 out of 10 for him. Then obviously Max Verstappen, just wow. One word review, wow, that was incredible from him, especially with the I think I got it wrong on the stream as well, either the first or the second stint of the tyres, where he was stuck behind Hamilton, and his race engineer came over the radio saying, mate, just hold it up, we need to save these tyres, like, just chill. And Max was like, no, I'm not sitting here like a granny, I'm going to go for it. And he did just that, and he made it pay off, he made it stick, did very well on those tyres, and just made it work. Got the 15 points, the Mercedes killer, as you said, and I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10 for that race. Top tier stuff from Mr. Max Verstappen.
Incredible. I don't think anyone, with how Mercedes' early performance was, unless both of them retired or had issues within the race, I don't think any of us saw the Mercedes being beaten. But yet, here we are today after yesterday's race with Max Verstappen as a race winner, and it's incredible. But we move on to the Mercedes, the team that looked invincible, looked incredible, again suffering tyre issues. And we thought with a softer compound and obviously the tyre strategy coming in that they would struggle, but they massively struggled on the medium compound. But in fairness, because Max had such a good stint on that first hard one, which it was confusing that Mercedes didn't try to match that strategy in qualifying on the Saturday. A rare kind of strategy mishap, and they did it again in Austria, and they got away with it because Max's engine retired in the first race. It could have been a similar sort of situation over there with their gearbox issues as well. But yeah, it was a strange one, and for the drivers, it's difficult. Valtteri Bottas, Stephen, what are you going to rate him?
Bam. Disaster. Finished as low as P3. What the hell? Shocking, really.
What is he doing with his career? He's just turning up to race weekends, getting the third.
Shocking.
Is there a point
Actually,
in
I just
racing?
remembered he finished P11 last week, didn't he? Bam.
What an improvement.
I know you thought he had a decent race, but his tyre management was poor all day. I know strategy in the end favoured Lewis, but Bottas just couldn't manage those tyres. Going to give him, I'm thinking to be harsh or be okay.
Do what you want.
Be harsh.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Bam. For Valtteri Bottas. Time management, poor. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, not much of a I'm trying to think of the words. They're not coming out.
Not much better, really.
Yeah, that's the one. Better. Going to give him a 7 out of 10. P2. Again, time management wasn't great. They both struggled, and yeah, being by Red Bull that they should be being every week. But yeah, couldn't handle Max today. Couldn't handle their tyres. 7 and 6.
And for the last time for a driver rating, we hand over to Sir Meerkat.
Thank you, mate. Hopefully not the last time. I hope to be back on here at some point.
No,
Do you hate me that much? Oh, okay. Thank you, mate. Thanks. I'm going to go and cry back here now. Yeah, so the Mercedes boys, usually, I mean, what I'm going to say is for these driver ratings, obviously they're not going to be, like, I'm not going to have them weighted the same, because if, I don't know, Romain Grosjean, to bring him up again, got a podium, I'd be like, wow, 10 out of 10 for him. But Bottas and Hamilton getting to P2 and P3 is not great for Mercedes, because we expect them to be so far ahead. Bottas, as the boys said, not on the best strategy today, and not dealing with the tyres particularly well, or not as well as Hamilton at least. And Hamilton, on the best strategy, came in for the new tyres, and then came back through, past Leclerc, and then was coming up behind Bottas. And I was wondering, is there going to be a Valtteri exchange coming over the radio at all? Let Hamilton through? But no, they came over saying, allow each other to race, but just be fair, sort of thing. So we were like, oh, rubbing our hands with glee, this is going to be great. And then, about 2 corners, Hamilton got him down the straight before they'd even got into the corner. And that was it. And I was like, oh. So I went back to sitting back down, then I was just a bit bored. But still, a P2 and a P3 is very good for any team, getting decent points. But for the boys, not that great. I'd probably say Bottas was a 7 out of 10, doing fine, just not doing brilliantly. And then Hamilton with an 8 out of 10, realistically in that car, should be winning every race. But Verstappen just did so well today, and that they couldn't really do anything to cover him off. So yeah, 7 and 8 for those two.
Throwing you under the bus there. You said be harsh, so it made you look bad, and then went for the nicer approach.
I did.
Bam.
Look at that. That is, you know, properly
Unbelievable.
Hey, it's crazy how you kind of manipulate that.
I feel betrayed.
Come there.
I've manipulated the F1 Fanatics boys
to
make you so much better.
And do you think it was because we said he can't come back?
Yeah, I think you set off from the bad tone there.
No, it probably did go right. But anyway, guys, that is another driver ratings. We hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, 2 collabs in 2 weeks. We had Tinnis from the TF1 show on last week, all the way from South Africa. And we've obviously had Sir Meerkat here today. So, Sir Meerkat, thank you very much for coming on and helping out with our driver ratings.
Thank you for having me, boys. I've really enjoyed it. Even in this unbelievably hot room, you might be able to see the glistening on my face. I'm very, very moist, but had a great time anyway. Had a good time watching the race for starters. A great little race at Silverstone again. Always great to see it on home soil, but fantastic to be on the channel as always. If you haven't subscribed to F1 Fanatics already, make sure you do so down below. Drop the video a like, and yeah, thank you, Mike. And Stephen, of course, for allowing me to be here today.
No problem at all, mate. And obviously, if you have come across us before you've come across the MotoMeerkat channel.
It is sometimes a challenge to watch my videos all the way to the end. Some people do say.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially if it's the Hunger Games video, where we were not very nice in that video.
We killed a lot of people.
There were so many people still salty from that, from a randomly generated game, that are like, why did you kill me? I was like, I didn't really.
Aren't you breathing still? But yes, if you've somehow come across us before Sir Meerkat, then please obviously go and check out MotoMeerkat. A link to his channel will be in the description down below. Great channel, and go and support him and check out his latest video. I'm sure he will be videos every Tuesday and Friday with F1 content out on his channel. So check those out. And like you said, if with him, well, Stephen, what can they do?
They can like. They can subscribe, and they can ding that bell.
He's on a subscribe streak right now. That was that 3 times in a row you
Never
got it right?
Catch me out now.
No. Want to check out some old videos if you want to understand the subscribe joke for stumbling. Because otherwise, if this is the first video you've ever watched, that's weird. So we'll go on there. But guys, we hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know your driver ratings in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Obviously, check out both channels on that front. And yeah, that's it from us. So for now, you F1 fans, keep racing!